Okay, I'm going to try to paint a picture, and also sort of speak to a sub-question in your earlier question, which is how has American conservatism or the American right changed under Donald Trump? Because that speaks to this as well. So when Donald Trump, I mean, he's a really famous person. He's a business magnate. You know, he had a very popular television show. He's always been in the American national consciousness, but he kind of broke onto the political scene in 2015. And then his surprise win in 2016 completely changed the American right. And what it did is it brought a lot of populism in, but it also made a lot of orthodoxies or accepted wisdom as it was. It brought it under scrutiny. It brought it into question. So one of the first things that he said was, China. China is eating our lunch. And now he made China in the national conversation because he's a business person, he's in construction, and he sort of realized that so much of our critical supply chain is all gone. It's all in China or in other countries where China has sort of like satellites of China, like let's say Vietnam. And so this sort of focus on China as being an enemy, as opposed to the earlier version, which was kind of under the neoconservative version. So maybe after the Soviet Union collapsed, going into the early 2000s of the Bush and Obama administration, the idea was that, Clinton as well, that we bring China into the World Trade Organization, we help it, we allow Chinese to develop, they'll forget about communism, they'll become good liberal Democrats, and we can all join hands and dance together. That did not work, because as we've seen, China did get developed, but it stayed communist. Or what does communist mean? As in, it's not a liberal democracy, and it has a very authoritarian structure, and it's just a very, very different civilization. It wasn't Chinese people don't want to, shed that off and become new age Westerners. They don't. That's who they are. So, but what happened is that we lost by we. I'm an American citizen, so I'm saying by Americans, we lost our industrial capacity. From the 70s, we had been outsourcing it anyway to, let's say, Germany and Japan, but in World War II, those two countries lost, and so they were under. And to this day, America has military bases there, so it's under U.S. military control, political influence as well. Whereas we outsourced our manufacturing base to China. China does not have a military base. I mean, a U.S. military base. We didn't defeat them in any war. We're not. They're not under us in any way. And so they're free to do what they want with their wealth. Including start a new Sino-centric, China-centric, massive bloc, which is, symbolized by the Belt and Road Initiative. They can do whatever they want with their surplus profits. So this division on is China really somebody that we need to reckon with? Is China someone as in like an entity on the world stage that will threaten U.S. standing in the world? So these questions have really come to the forefront. And what is the role of NATO? Should we be expanding NATO? You're supposed to have 2% of your GDP spending if you want to, have NATO protection. Most countries don't do that. Actually, Hungary is one that does. But all these sort of questions that nobody had ever questioned or asked, now all of a sudden, these came into the picture. And people like to put some kind of racist tonality to the word America first, because, in the early 20th century, some other group had it. But basically, America first is in America first, second, and third, put American workers first, American border security first, American trade first, because it has to be, if it's free trade, that's fine, but it has to be fair trade. So these factors, that's how the conversation on the right changed, and it sort of forced the left to also reckon with these ideas. So